Assalamu alaikum. Today's editorial from the Newspaper, and it was published on 20th April 2020. As you can see the title, The External Outsiders. We are going to read this whole article and then discuss the difficult word meanings. On Friday, officials in Myanmar announced the release of nearly 25,000 prisoners to the applause and relief of their family members. President Win Myint said the purpose behind the largest release of prisoners in the country was to bring delight to the citizens of Myanmar on their traditional New Year. Just one day earlier, however, 382 Rohingya refugees were rescued by the Coast Guard of Bangladesh as they were making their way towards Malaysia. Of which land were the citizens of adrift is a tempestuous sea for nearly 2 months. More than 2 dozen of them tragically perished on the overcrowded boat, while the remaining survivors were found emaciated. Surely they too had families who were worried sick for their safety, nauseous to hear of some news perhaps of their freedom. Unfortunately, despite originally hailing from Myanmar's Rakhine state, the Rohingya Muslims have been denied citizenship for decades and suffer in confinements and camps that have been described over and over again as open air prisons. They are dehumanized, the target of racial and religious prejudice, and cannot travel freely in their own country of birth, which consider them to be foreigners in their own place of birth. Since 2017, thousands of Rohingya Muslims have been brutally killed in an army crackdown, while hundreds of thousands fled to their countries, traversing hostiles and water routes to reach their destinations, only to be indefinitely stranded in refugee camps. Last year, officials from Myanmar visited Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh to encourage refugees to begin returning home voluntarily, without assuring them of citizenship or making any adjustments to the discriminatory laws that have made their lives unbearable. Not surprisingly, not a single Rohingya Muslim enlisted for the repatriation program. Myanmar must grant citizenship to its Rohingya population as a first step towards according them basic human rights, dignity, and security, and the international community must continue to put pressure on the country to do so. So there are some important words in this article. Now we are going to discuss them. The first one is noun, which is applause. You can pronounce as the applause, a demonstration of approval by clapping the hands together. The second word was adrift, which was adjective, and the pronunciation of this word is adrift. Aimlessly drifting, Russia is adrift and chaotic. It's just a sentence. Afloat, aimless, directionless, planeless, rudderless, undirected, purposeless. These are the all synonyms of adrift. And the third one is tempestuous, which was adjective, tempestuous, characterized by violent emotions or behavior, a tempestuous agreement, stormy, unpeaceful. Emaciated, very thin, especially from disease, hunger, or cold. And these all the other synonyms: cadaverous, gaunt, haggard, pinched, skeletal, wasted, lean, meager, thin. Emaciate means caused to grow thin or weak. The treatment emaciated him. Confinement. The next word is confinement. Concluding state of pregnancy from the ones of contractions to the birth of child. She was in confinement for 6 hours. Childbed, labor, laying in, pregnant travail. Dehumanized. Dehumanized. It means divested of human qualities or attributes, unhuman and non-human. Racial. Racial. Of or related to genetically distinguished group of people. Racial group are the characteristics of race or races of arising from differences among groups. Racial differences, racial discrimination. And the next word was prejudice, which was a noun. Prejudice, pronunciation. A partiality that prevents objective considerations of an issue or situation. Bias, preconception. The next word was flee, which was a verb. Flees, fled, fleeing. Flee, the pronunciation is flee. Run away quickly, he threw down his gun and fled. Cut and run, fly. Traverse, travel across or pass over. The caravan travels almost 100 miles each day. Cover, cross, cut across, cut through. Okay, thank you.